I never thought a single phone call could shatter my entire world, but there I was, sitting alone in our dim apartment, the rain pattering against the window like tiny accusations, when the truth hit me like a freight train. My boyfriend, the man I'd trusted with my heart and my future, had taken another woman, his secret girlfriend, to his grandmother's funeral, introducing her to his family as if I didn't exist. In that moment, the betrayal burned through me, hot and unrelenting, but little did he know, it would ignite a revenge so sweet, so perfectly poetic, that he'd regret every lie he ever told. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the most jaw-dropping revenge stories. If you've ever felt the sting of betrayal and dreamed of turning the tables, you're in the right place. Smash that like button if this hook already has you hooked, subscribe for more epic tales of justice served, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Let's get into this one. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and trust me, the payback is worth every second. My name is Alex, and back in my early 20s, I was the epitome of wide-eyed optimism, the kind of girl who believed in fairy tales even when life kept throwing plot twists my way. I met Jake at a coffee shop in our small college town. Nothing glamorous, just spilled lattes and awkward laughter that turned into late-night talks. He was charming, with that easy smile and those piercing blue eyes that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Or so I thought. We moved in together after just 6 months, into this cozy little apartment on the edge of town, with creaky wooden floors and walls thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments. It felt like the start of something real, something lasting. But looking back, the red flags were there from the beginning, waving like crimson banners in a storm I chose to ignore. Jake worked in sales, or at least that's what he said. He'd come home at ungodly hours, 3 or 4 a.m., smelling faintly of cheap perfume and stale beer, spinning tales about client dinners and emergency meetings that stretched into the night. I'd lie awake in our bed, the sheets tangled around me, my heart pounding with a mix of worry and doubt. "Babe, it's just the job," he'd say, pulling me close, his breath warm against my neck. "You know I hate being away from you." And I'd believe him because I wanted to. I was young, gullible, desperate for love in a world that had already dealt me a few bad hands. Absent parents, a string of failed friendships. Jake was my anchor, or so I convinced myself. He kept me isolated, subtly at first. "My friends are idiots, you'd hate them," he'd laugh off my suggestions to meet them. "Family gatherings? They're too dysfunctional, I don't want to subject you to that." Holidays came and went with excuses, work trips, sudden illnesses. I spent Christmas alone once, curled up on the couch with a microwave dinner, watching holiday movies while he visited his sick aunt out of state. The apartment felt colder those nights, the silence pressing in like a weight on my chest. I'd stare at the ceiling, my mind racing with questions I was too afraid to voice. Was I not good enough? Did he think I'd embarrass him? The doubt gnawed at me, a constant ache in my stomach, but I pushed it down, telling myself it was normal, that relationships took time. Then came the day that changed everything. Jake's grandmother passed away unexpectedly. A kind old woman I'd only heard stories about, never met. He was devastated, or at least he played the part well. Tears streamed down his face as he paced the living room, his hands trembling. "I can't believe she's gone," he choked out, collapsing onto the couch beside me. I wrapped my arms around him, feeling the hitch in his breathing, the way his body shook. "Do you want me to come with you to the funeral?" I asked softly, stroking his hair. "I can take time off work." He pulled back, his eyes red-rimmed but suddenly distant. "No, Alex. I need to do this alone. It's family stuff, too emotional. You'd understand if you knew them." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Of course, I understood. Grief was personal, I didn't want to intrude. So I let him go, packing his suitcase with fresh clothes, pressing a kiss to his forehead as he left. "Call me if you need anything," I whispered. He smiled faintly, promising he would, and then he was gone, the door clicking shut behind him like the final nail in a coffin I didn't know was being built. The next 2 days were a blur of solitude. I tried to keep busy, cleaning the apartment, binge-watching shows, anything to distract from the emptiness. The rain started that afternoon, a steady drizzle that turned into a downpour, mirroring the unease building inside me. My phone stayed silent, no calls, no texts from Jake. I told myself he was grieving, surrounded by family, but the silence stretched on, heavy and oppressive. Then, on the evening of the funeral, my phone rang. It was Sarah, an old acquaintance from college who I'd bumped into a few times. Someone who knew Jake through mutual friends. Her voice was hesitant, laced with sympathy. "Alex, I don't know how to say this, but I think you need to know." My heart skipped a beat, a cold dread pooling in my veins. "What is it?" I managed, my grip tightening on the phone. She told me everything. Jake hadn't gone alone. He'd shown up with another woman, tall brunette, with a 1-year-old boy in tow. He'd introduced her as his girlfriend, the love of his life. She'd met the whole family, shared stories, even played the part of the supportive partner as they mourned. And the kid? Jake had been stepping in as a father figure, attending doctor's appointments, birthday parties. Sarah had seen it all, overheard the whispers. "I'm so sorry, Alex. I thought you two had broken up or something. When I realized, I had to call." The world tilted. My vision blurred, hot tears streaming down my face as I sank to the floor, the phone still pressed to my ear. Betrayal wasn't just a word, it was a physical pain, a knife twisting in my gut, radiating out to every limb. My chest heaved with sobs I couldn't control, the room spinning around me. How long? How many lies? The apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison of deceit. Every memory flashed before me. Late nights, cancelled plans, the way he'd avoid eye contact sometimes. It all made sense now, a puzzle snapping into place with cruel clarity. I don't know how long I sat there, the rain hammering outside, my body numb. Sleepless nights followed, my mind a whirlwind of rage and heartbreak. I'd pace the living room at 2 a.m., replaying conversations, imagining confrontations. The injustice burned. How dare he treat me like a secret, a disposable side piece while parading her around? I felt powerless, underestimated, like I'd been played for a fool. But beneath the pain, a spark ignited. This wasn't the end. Not yet. And just when I thought the wound couldn't get deeper, Sarah called again. The other woman, her name's Mia. She found out about you too. She's devastated. Want me to connect you? The decision to talk to Mia wasn't easy. Part of me wanted to curl up and disappear, to nurse my wounds in private. But another part, the one fueled by that growing spark of anger, needed answers. Needed to know I wasn't alone in this nightmare. So I agreed, and Sarah passed along her number. My fingers trembled as I typed out the first message. "Hi, this is Alex. Sarah gave me your contact. I think we have a lot to talk about." Her reply came almost immediately. "God, yes. When?" We set up a call for that evening. I spent the hours leading up to it in a state of anxious frenzy, cleaning the apartment obsessively, then stopping to stare at nothing, my mind racing. What if she blamed me? What if she defended him? The doubt clawed at me, mixing with the raw ache of betrayal. My stomach churned, a constant nausea that had me sipping ginger tea just to keep something down. When the phone rang, I answered on the first chime, my voice shaky. "Hello. Alex? It's Mia." Her tone was soft, tentative, with a hint of exhaustion that mirrored my own. We started slow, exchanging basics, who we were, how we'd met Jake. But soon, the floodgates opened. She told me about their relationship, dates to fancy restaurants, weekends away, how he'd bonded with her son, little Tommy, teaching him to kick a ball in the park. He said he was single, that his last relationship ended years ago, she said, her voice cracking. I believed him. God, I feel so stupid. You're not stupid, I replied, tears welling up again. Neither am I. He played us both. I shared my side, the isolation, the late nights, how I'd given up friends and opportunities for him. We laughed bitterly at the overlapping excuses, the way he'd juggle us like some twisted game. Remember when he said he had that work conference last month? I asked. Yeah, he told me the same thing. But he was with me that weekend, she confessed. The laughter turned to sobs, raw and unfiltered. I could hear her sniffling on the other end, the sound echoing my own grief. It was cathartic, this shared pain, like lancing a wound that had festered too long. But it also escalated the hurt. Knowing the depth of his deception made it feel even more monstrous. How could he do this?
Mia whispered.
To us, to my son? We talked for hours, the clock ticking past midnight without notice. The conversation shifted from sorrow to anger, our voices growing stronger. He's a manipulator, I said, pacing my room, the floorboards creaking underfoot. He kept me hidden, like I was his dirty secret. And he paraded me around like a trophy, but only because it suited his image, she added. His family loved Tommy, thought Jake was this great guy stepping up. The injustice boiled over. I felt disrespected, undervalued, like I'd been reduced to a shadow in my own life. Sleepless nights intensified. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazily, my thoughts a torrent. What if I confronted him? What if he lied his way out? Doubts plagued me. Was I strong enough to walk away? Could I rebuild without him? Jake returned the next day, acting like nothing happened. He walked in with a bouquet of wilted flowers. Ironic, given how our relationship felt. Missed you, babe, he said, leaning in for a kiss. I dodged it, my skin crawling at his touch. How was the funeral? Fine, he muttered, avoiding my eyes. Emotional. I pressed, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Anyone special there? Family, friends? He froze, just for a second, but it was enough. What do you mean? The confrontation exploded. I laid it all out, the call from Sarah, the details about Mia. His face paled, then reddened with denial. That's bullshit. She's lying. You're paranoid, Alex. But I had proof, texts from Mia, timelines that matched. He stormed around the apartment yelling, "You don't understand. It wasn't serious with her. You're the one I love." Liar. I screamed back, my throat raw. The argument escalated, objects flying. A lamp shattered against the wall, its crash echoing like my breaking heart. He grabbed his things, cursing under his breath, and left in a huff. But not before sneering, "You'll regret this. Both of you." Mia and I talked again that night, sharing the blow-by-blow. He called me too, she said. Tried to gaslight me, say you were crazy. We bonded over the shared outrage, but the struggle was real. I moved out temporarily, crashing on a friend's couch, the unfamiliar smells and sounds keeping me awake. Powerlessness gripped me. How do you fight someone who's already taken so much? Failed attempts at normalcy followed. Dates that felt hollow, nights out where I'd spot couples and feel a pang of envy mixed with bitterness. But amid the escalation, our idea sparked during one of our calls. What if we didn't just dump him? I said slowly. What if we became friends? Show him we don't need him, that we're better without him. Mia paused, then laughed, a genuine freeing sound. He'd hate that. Let's do it. The tension built. Close calls with Jake. He'd text please, then threats. Stay away from her, one read. But we pushed forward, planning our first meetup. The anticipation was electric, a mix of fear and excitement. What if it backfired? What if he won? Little did we know, this was just the beginning of his downfall. The turning point came on a crisp autumn afternoon, when Mia and I finally met in person. I'd suggested a neutral spot, a quiet park bench overlooking a lake, where the leaves rustled in the breeze and ducks quacked softly in the distance. My heart raced as I approached, spotting her from afar, tall with wavy brunette hair tied back, pushing a stroller with little Tommy gurgling happily inside. She looked up, our eyes meeting, and in that instant, the shared pain forged an immediate connection. No awkwardness, just a hug that lingered, both of us holding on like lifelines. Hi, wife, I joked through tears, pulling back to smile. She laughed, wiping her eyes. Hi, other wife. God, this is weird, but good weird. We sat for hours, Tommy playing with toys at our feet, the sun warming our faces. Conversation flowed effortlessly, from Jake's lies to our dreams, our fears. I feel like I've regained control, Mia admitted, her voice steady. Talking to you. It's like taking back the power he stole. Me too, I nodded, the weight on my chest lifting slightly. That meeting was the spark. We decided right then to dump Jake officially, but with a twist. We'd become friends, close ones, and make sure he knew it. The revenge wasn't violent or illegal. It was psychological, a slow burn that would eat at his ego. He'd isolated us, played us against each other unknowingly. Now we'd unite, showing him we were stronger together. Planning began in earnest. Late-night calls turned into strategy sessions. First, we block him everywhere, I suggested, scribbling notes on a napkin during one of our coffee meetups. The cafe smelled of fresh espresso and cinnamon, a comforting backdrop to our scheming. No more access to our lives. Agreed, Mia said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. But we post subtly, photos together, nothing direct, but enough to sting if he sees. Mini conflicts arose. Jake found out quickly, mutual friends spilled, or maybe he stalked our socials. He showed up at my new apartment one night, banging on the door. "Alex, open up. This is crazy, you and her? You're just trying to hurt me." I didn't answer, my pulse thundering, but I texted Mia, "He's here." Freaking out. She called the police non-emergency line, just in case, and he left before they arrived. Close call, but it fueled us. "He's unraveling," she said later, over video chat, Tommy asleep in her lap. We deepened our bond with small acts, grocery runs where we'd laugh about Jake's terrible taste in music, or playdates for Tommy where I'd read him stories, feeling a maternal warmth I hadn't expected. The anticipation built with each plan. For her 21st birthday, I plotted a surprise, a night out at a trendy bar, complete with outfits I'd picked. "He never took me anywhere fun," she confessed. This is revenge in itself. But doubts crept in during quieter moments. Lying awake, I'd wonder, is this healthy? Am I obsessing? The thrill of planning mixed with vulnerability, inner monologues of what if he moves on first? But Mia's encouragement pulled me through. "We're not just hurting him, we're healing us," she'd say. We escalated subtly, a girls' night photo on social media, tagged with inside jokes he'd recognize. His reaction? The execution unfolded like a well-rehearsed play, each act building on the last, leaving Jake in the dust of his own making. Our first big move was Mia's 21st birthday. I'd planned it meticulously, a rooftop bar in the city, string lights twinkling overhead, the hum of conversation and clinking glasses creating a vibrant atmosphere. Mia arrived in a stunning red dress I'd helped pick, her eyes wide with excitement. "I've never had a birthday like this," she admitted as we toasted with cocktails, the city skyline sprawling below us. The night was magical, until it wasn't. Mia drank a bit too much, the freedom hitting her hard after years of single mom responsibilities. She got sick in the bathroom, all over my shoes and dress. But I didn't care, I held her hair back, rubbing her back, whispering, "I've got you, wife." We laughed about it later, stumbling into a cab, her head on my shoulder. Jake heard through the grapevine, furious that I was there for her in ways he never was. Next came our date. A romantic Italian restaurant, candles flickering on the table, the scent of garlic and fresh bread wafting through the air. We dressed up, held hands for photos, captioned "Better Together." His reaction? A barrage of calls from blocked numbers, voicemails seething with rage. "You two are pathetic. This won't last." But it did. The concert was the pinnacle. Tickets from her family, front row seats to our favorite band. The arena pulsed with energy, bass thumping in our chests, lights flashing as we danced and screamed lyrics. Tommy stayed with a sitter. It was just us, lost in the music, arms around each other. Jake's family saw the posts. His sister even liked one, a silent nod of approval that must have stung. The fallout was delicious. Jake unraveled publicly, ranting to friends, who distanced themselves. "He's lost it," one told me. "Keeps saying you stole his life." Community perception shifted. We were the empowered duo, he the villain. His ego, once inflated, deflated like a punctured balloon. Emotionally, it was release. No more sleepless nights of doubt, instead, joy in our friendship. We both moved on, meeting wonderful men. Mine a kind-hearted teacher, hers a supportive engineer. But Jake? Last I heard, alone, regretting it all. In the end, revenge wasn't about destruction, it was about rising above. We turned pain into power, betrayal into bond. What a story, right? If this tale of sweet justice resonated with you, drop a comment below sharing your own revenge thoughts.